snack has played a huge part in my training camp. The protein, the ZMA, everything, the pre-workout, it's played such a major part in my training camp, keeping me healthy, keeping me recovered, keeping me feeling good, strong, and ready for my next workout.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcos Villegas being joined with the undefeated IBF super middleweight champion of the world, Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, where we're going to talk all sorts of stuff regarding his division, one of the hottest divisions in boxing right now, the super middleweight division. Caleb, thank you for joining me. How have you been since your victory over Caleb Truax a few weeks ago?
Been good, man. Just doing a little bit of, resting, kicking my feet up, and, here recently just getting back, doing a couple little things, some curls, some push-ups, some pull-ups, stuff like that, just trying to keep things in check. And slowly here it'll start to, be a little more and more. So
you took a break, right? You took a little vacation, like you let your body and mind relax?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. What do you do to unwind, man?
We went snowboarding. That was cool. I went once like 2 years ago for the first time, and we wanted to go again. And it was a good time, not doing nothing too crazy, not trying to be, in X Games mode or anything like that, but it was a good time.
Did you see Tank when he went snowboarding on his live?
Yeah, I did see that.
That was hilarious. Are you good at snowboarding, or were you fumbling around like he was?
I'm decent. I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm good or anything, but I picked up really quick 2 years ago when we first went. And then this last time I was doing good too. So yeah.
With you getting back into training, when you say that, you've been doing some pull-ups, some push-ups and all that, that's obviously to maintain. Is that what you normally do? Like after a fight, does that happen like 2 weeks after a fight where you just start kind of doing like light running and light workouts?
Yeah, just, anyone who knows me, me, I'm not a fighter who's going to blow up in weight or, just let themselves go and then come in 8 weeks out or 10 weeks out or 12 weeks out and, start trying to get everything in together real quick. I take this sport really serious. I have a lot of respect for this sport. This sport has done a lot for me. And, I want to treat it, give back to it the same way. So, I try to make sure I'm always on top of things and, even, a month out, I'm saying, I'm on my gallon of water, making sure I'm, doing what I'm supposed to do. So,
man, it's hard to drink a gallon of water.
It's not that hard.
It's hard, man, because you get full.
It's just like a habit. If you do it consistently and you stay on it, it's just like anything else. Eventually it won't be nothing. Come on, man, step it up.
It's true, but yeah, I get full. That's my problem. I tried and I don't know. I just can't, man. With the last fight that you had, Caleb, I talked to you about your hand. How's your hand doing?
It's good. I've been resting at no impact, what I'm saying, as far as like mids or heavy bag or anything like that. But just been resting it. And again, nothing was broken. There was some ligament damage, not enough for surgery or anything like that. So it was just a situation where I just got to let it rest and heal up. So
it's all healed up now? It's all good?
We need to rest it a little for a few more weeks, but and that's just being on the safe side. I could go in now and probably start touching things, but just to be safe, there's plenty of other things that I can be doing and working on that doesn't involve, impact. So
in regards to that, I know you had mentioned to me in the prior interview that we had that you started having hand issues maybe a few fights, not a few fights, a few years ago, maybe like 2-3 years ago. What do you think caused the hand issue this time around?
I don't know. Sometimes whether that's in a fight or in life, sometimes things like that just come up. And a lot of times they're unexpected and you just got to find a way to, maneuver around them and get through it. And, I did want to stop it. So I was, being honest. I feel like I'm an honest guy. I was disappointed in that. But, other than getting the stoppage, I feel like I did everything that you would want a fighter to do. And that's to shut out somebody on all three judges' scorecards. He only landed 12% of his punches, so the defense is there. And I landed like 40 or 50% of my power punches, so the offense was there as well. So, but being able to set down on them and, put certain things together, it can make things like that, a little more difficult. But other than that, I'm really happy with my performance, and the viewership was great as well. So, I feel like my viewership, it keeps climbing and climbing. So
What do you make of the take the fans had about you not being able to stop a guy like Truax and then wanting a fight with Canelo, with them saying like, hey, you can't even stop Truax. How are you going to fight Canelo?
Yeah. Well, and who says that? The fans?
Yeah.
I mean, what the fans got to understand is there's a lot of ways to win a fight other than just the knockout. You know, the hardcore boxing fans, I feel like these days are less than what it once was. You know, a lot of times these days, you know, it's a lot of casual fans, and they show up for the event and they show up for the knockout. And you know, I stopped my last three opponents, but or not, I didn't stop Jose, but you know, I got the knockdowns in that fight. But you know, sometimes, like I said, things like that come up, and you know, with some ligament damage to your hand, sometimes getting a stoppage and really sitting down like you want to, it can make things a little more difficult. So, you know, you can't please everybody. You know what I'm saying? So at one point, Deontay Wilder was knocking out everybody, and they was hating on his boxing skill, his boxing ability. They questioned his conditioning and stuff like that. So it's like if I was knocking everybody out, then they'd be saying one thing. If I was boxing everybody up, they'd be saying one thing. So you just gotta, you know, you can't worry about what everybody else says. If I was here to make everybody else happy, you know, I probably wouldn't even be here. So
Let me ask you this. Is that how you've always taken criticism since you were very young, or it's been like a process to get to this point where you just ignore pretty much what people are saying?
well, a bit of it I've had my whole life, you know, listening to what people said or what they thought. You know, I've had a lot of criticism in this sport. You know, I haven't always, I don't know what the word is, been accepted maybe in this sport. And, you know, people have had a lot of things to say about me. And, you know, they didn't believe that I would be here. You know, when I told people back home, I don't come from a place where there's a big boxing culture. So when I told them that I'd be a pro boxer one day, they didn't believe me. When I told them I'd be a Gold Glove national champion, they didn't believe me. When I told them I'd be a world champion, they didn't believe me. When I told them I'd beat Jose Uzcategui to become world champion, they didn't believe me. So I'm not looking to be believed. You know, I'm not looking to have a believable career. I'm looking to have an unbelievable career. And you know, over time, you you get better at dealing with it because more comes and you learn how to deal with it better. But you know, I've always had that sense of kid that, you know, it doesn't matter what they say. I know what I believe. I know what I feel in my heart, and this is what I'm going to stick with. So
I asked Virgil Ortiz this question because Virgil is more of like a introvert. He likes to keep to himself. And I asked him, "Is it a priority for you to become a big star? Is that what you want?" And he told me, "No. If I had a choice to be successful in boxing and make good purses and not be famous, I would choose that route." You're a very quiet guy. You keep to yourself at times, Caleb. Obviously, your brand is growing and you're getting more popular. But is it a priority for you? Do you want to become a big star, or would you rather keep it low profile?
I mean, outside of boxing, you know, in the real world or whatever you want to call it, you know, a lot of times I am more reserved, and a lot of times because I don't feel as comfortable, you know, in those moments. And it's in boxing, you know, in the gym, in the ring, where I feel more comfortable. I'm able to open up and be more of myself. So, you know, I don't know. It's never really been, you know, a big thing for me to be famous and to be, you know, everybody trying to grab a hold of me or whatever it may be. Boxing is my focus. You know, I love the sport and I love beating on my craft. I love working on my craft and just staying in the gym. And you know, you don't have to try to chase to be famous or chase money. You know, if you focus on your craft and you do what you love, you know, those things will come whether you want them or not. So you don't have to chase those things. Just stick to your craft.
Speaking of the craft, obviously, you know, a big take that people want to hear from you is what you felt about what Canelo showed over the weekend against his opponent, Avni Yildirim. Did you watch the fight, Caleb? And were you able to get anything new from Canelo in those 3 rounds?
Um, yeah, I seen the fight, and you know, hats off to Canelo. He did what he had to do, but at the end of the day, I felt like he had a guy standing across from him who had already lost before he stepped in the ring mentally. You know, uh, I've said this in interviews today recently because, like we said, this ain't my first one. I've been doing quite a few today. You know, if you want your name to be cemented in history, if you want to have a legacy in this sport, if you want to be remembered, then you know, when you finally get your shot, you can't quit on the stool after the third round, especially if you know, you're not out on your feet, or, you know what I'm saying, you're going to have to go out on your shield. And so, you know, I was disappointed with that. Not disappointed, you know, he can do what he wants to, but at the end of the day, that's not how I would go about things. So,
When you hear that fans get angry over the fact that Canelo was fighting that guy,
mhm.
and he has gotten this criticism about Canelo doesn't fight good opponents consistently. What's your take on all that? Do you side with those fans saying that, or do you feel that, you know, Canelo should get a pass given that situation and the other fights that he's had, given his position in the sport and who he has fought in the prior years?
I mean, I don't know. I don't put too much thought or effort into that. I'm really just focused on me, and, you know, that there's enough on this side of the table that I have to focus on, and that I need to perfect and work on for me to be worried about what everybody else is doing. You know, I understand in boxing there's mandatories, and those mandatories aren't always guys that people want to see. But at the end of the day, if you don't fight that mandatory, then you'll be stripped of your world title, which, if those fans were in that position, they wouldn't let that happen either. They would fight their mandatory because they're not going to be stripped of the world title. Now, how he was his mandatory, I'm not exactly sure, because, you know, he hadn't, his last fight, you know, 2 years ago, however long ago it was, he lost. So how he was still the mandatory, I'm not really sure. But, you know, as far as mandatories go in general, you know, it's just part of the sport, and it's just something that's going to have to be dealt with. And if you truly love the sport, then you need to love the things that come along with it, and part of that is mandatory. So
He must have had a great manager. That manager must be a plus plus manager.
yeah, I mean, again, yeah, that's really all I got to say about it.
It was announced after the fight he's going into a fight with Billy Joe Saunders. I'm curious, man. How do you see that fight? Is that a hard fight? Because I feel a lot of people aren't giving Saunders a chance.
Yeah, I mean, Billy, he's got some attributes. You know, he's got foot speed, he's got some hand speed, and I think he's got some more mental fortitude than maybe some of these last couple opponents that Canelo's had. So how Canelo deals with that is what people are waiting to see. But you know, it's up to Billy to go in there and to implement those things. You know, you can have all the foot speed, hand speed, boxing ability, boxing IQ, power, whatever it may be. But if you can't go in there and implement it, then those things don't matter. And if Canelo is able to negate those things and Billy's not able to adjust and switch it up, then it doesn't matter anyway. So we'll see.
Break it down, like, really, you know, what does Saunders have to, if you were helping Saunders, or like if he reached out to you and said, like, and I know this probably wouldn't happen, but say he did reach out to you and said, hey bro, you know, what advice would you have for me going up against a Canelo? What would I do? How do I win this fight? What plan would you lay out? What would you tell Saunders?
Hands up, chin down. That's all.
Yeah, that's all you would say. He has to do more than that.
He's got a team around him. He can figure it out. You know, he's a world champion. He's been doing this for a minute. And if him and his people around him, you know, can't figure out what needs to be done, then, you know, it's not for him to win.
You're keeping things close to the chest. Because we know a fight with you and Canelo, hopefully, in September. The last thing I want to touch on this Saunders fight is, can it be a close fight? Are you expecting a close competitive fight, or do you think that Canelo will end up breaking him down?
I mean, any fight can be a close fight. You know, a fighter can go in there who's supposed to lose and catch the other fighter early and cold, and him not be the same for the rest of the fight, and they wind up being, you know, a fight that he still loses, but was much closer than maybe it would have been. So, you know, again, everyone's got their game plan. It's up to them to go in there and implement that. So, you know, that's for them guys to figure out. That ain't for me to figure out.
Yeah, it's to me, it's an interesting fight just to see, to gauge how much Canelo has improved since his fight with Laura, and he does have trouble with guys like Saunders, guys like you, who are very mobile, very good and very slick on their feet. Now, speaking of you and Canelo, he's said in interviews he wants to fight. His goal is to unify, be undisputed at 168. You've told me, you've told countless other people, you want the fight also. You want to be undisputed at 168. He did an interview where he said maybe that this fight could happen in September. Does this fight get made in September, Caleb?
I mean, it takes two to dance, but yes, that's what we want. That's what I want. You know, that's been my goal for a long time, is to be an undisputed fighter and to be the first undisputed super middleweight. And, you know, I'm in this for legacy. This isn't a money grab for me. If this was a money grab for me, I would have took the fight on, 5 weeks notice with a 4-week training camp like Callum did. This is not a money grab for me. I'm coming to win. And anyone who thinks any different is sadly mistaken, and they'll see in September. So I'm coming to win.
How complicated is it to make this fight happen? Or is it an easy fight to be made?
Look, I'm a fighter. That's what I do, is fight. And that's what I'm best at. And so in life, I try to stick to what I'm best at, and that's fighting and training. I got a great team around me. It goes without saying. Al Heyman is the best at what he does. Luis DeCutis is one of the best at what he does, if not the best at what he does. So, I got a great team around me, and I'm confident in my team. And look, he's looking to become undisputed, and I'm looking to become undisputed. And there's only one way for that to happen. So.
Because I'm thinking, obviously he's with Eddie Hearn now, though this is his last fight with Saunders. He's on the DAZN platform. Obviously, you're a PBC fighter. You're on Fox. There could be some complications there. If something was offered where they say, hey, we have one fight on DAZN, one fight on Fox, is that something you could deal with? Is it possible that we could see you just for one fight go to DAZN to make this happen?
Look, I'm really not sure. I haven't thought that far. I'm a fighter. I'll let my team figure all that. I want the fight to happen. He wants the fight to happen. And so I'm sure it'll happen in September. But other than that, I don't know all the ins and outs of, what needs to be done to make the fight happen. He's got something in front of him before me anyway. So, he's got to get past that. And, then we can sit down and figure it out. And until then, we're really just talking, you know what I'm saying? So I want the fight to happen, and he wants it to happen. So, I'm sure our teams will get together and make it happen.
So you're pretty confident then. You're not worried that there might be some like little technicality that makes it so that the fight isn't possible to happen.
I mean, again, I can't, there's nothing really else I can say besides that. I want the fight to happen, but I don't know all the ins and outs of that. You know what I'm saying? I have a great team around me. They've done a great job thus far. I'm sure you can agree with getting me where I am. And, we both want the fight to happen. So.
Do you beat Canelo, and do you beat him pretty convincingly in your mind? Or do you feel it's a close fight?
I absolutely beat Canelo and get my hand raised. I absolutely beat Canelo and get my hand raised. Again, I truly believe that in my heart of hearts. I'm going to beat Canelo Alvarez, and I'm going to become the first undisputed super middleweight of all time.
Man, I can't wait. I can't wait.
If you think I'm blowing smoke, if you think listen to me. If you think I'm blowing smoke, if you think I'm going to go from rope to rope and corner to corner getting beat up like Callum Smith did, or if you think I'm going to shell up in front of him like Yildirim did and then quit on my stool after the third round, I promise you that you don't know nothing about me. If you know anything about me at all, you know that that's not going to happen. I promise you. So watch and see.
That's a man right there with conviction. Speaking about this Canelo Alvarez fight, over the weekend, Anthony DArrell fought Kyron Davis, and he mentioned something to us in the fighter meeting, which I just wanted to get your comment on. He had mentioned that he was offered a fight with you, and that you said that he said that you passed on it to fight Caleb Truax, and he's like, I don't know why I wanted a title shot. Was there any truth to that statement that he put out?
I don't know about all that. I knew that Caleb Truax was my mandatory, and me and my team's plan was to get that back-to-back mandatory out of the way. That way, moving forward, that there wouldn't be any hiccups or any bumps in the road that would conflict with us, getting that unification fight or getting a unification fight and giving a big fight with what the fans want to see. So, I'm not sure his handlers or his team or what he's got going on, but I knew that our plan was to fight Caleb Truax. That way, with the IBF being as strict as they are on mandatories, that way moving forward, down the road later this year, there wouldn't be no hiccups. So, do you think that I'm ducking Anthony DArrell?
I've said this to fans when they bring up this talk. You guys are fighters, okay? This comes so natural to you guys that I honestly 110% don't believe that fighters are afraid to fight, because this is what you guys do for a living, and this is what you guys have been doing since you were little kids. So like to me, like when people say that, and I say this in my live chats all the time, I'm like, dude, that's like asking a stripper if she's afraid to strip. Stripper strips. She sees the pool, she's gonna strip, she's gonna dance. That's what she does. And this is what you guys do.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he was sitting ringside for my Jose Uzcategui fight, who's a much more dangerous fighter, especially at the time. Now, I may have, you know, taken his soul. He may not be the same fighter after that. And we've seen that with many fighters. They get a lot of momentum. They get this bully aura around them, and then they get beat. And then they're not the same fighter after. But he knows how good I am. He knows what's up. And, you know, if he can't beat Kyron Davis, then, you know, surely I'm not scared or ducking Anthony DArrell. So
from now to September, the money question is, do you have another fight, or do you just kind of lie and wait and see how this all shakes out with Canelo and Saunders?
I'm waiting until September. You know, with a hand injury, I don't want to get back in the gym too soon and start beating on it and, you know, have it flare up or have any issues. So, you know, letting it fully heal, fully rest, and then fight September sounds like a great plan to me. You know, most fighters in this era and at this stage, at this caliber, you know, usually fight twice a year anyways. And before the pandemic, I was fighting twice a year. Most world champions and, you know, were fighting twice a year. So, you know, for me to fight in January and then to fight in September, that would be right on pace for what I would normally be doing anyway. So I'll see Canelo in September if he gets past Billy Joe.
I just hope he doesn't come injured or come off injured in that fight, because then obviously, you know, it would push the fight back a little bit. But man, you and him, Mexican Independence Day, that's an event, man. That's a big fight.
You gonna be there?
Heck yeah, I'm gonna be there. Man, when's the last time we seen this? Is such a good year for boxing, because we're seeing you know, you potentially with Canelo to be undisputed. We're seeing the heavyweights potentially be undisputed. We're seeing 140 pounds potentially be undisputed, 154 pounds potentially being undisputed.
You see Teofimo Lopez?
Yeah. This is a wow. Like we're in. It's good to be a boxing fan right now, given that there's so many weight categories that we could finally say, like, hey, no, this guy's the champ, like undisputed, like no doubt, like this guy has all the belts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time for boxing, and you know, I feel like it's a great time to be a boxing fan. And you know, sometimes mandatories and things like that come about, but hey, sometimes, you know, in any sport, you see a football team or a baseball team or basketball team, you know, play another team that's just going to get demolished, or, you know, they don't want to see that because they like this team better. Or, you know, in boxing, I don't want to see him fight him because I like this fighter better. But hey, sometimes those things come about. But like you said, I feel like it's a great time to be a boxing fan. And, you know, with a lot of these big fights being on Fox, you know, free television for everybody to see, I feel like it's a great time.
Will you be at the Saunders fight? Will you make your presence felt?
I don't know. We'll see.
I think you should. just be like, yo, bro, come on, I'm next. Let's go.
We'll see. Probably will.
Yeah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Hey, Caleb, man, it was good chatting with you. Thank you for that update on everything. And you think if Canelo does beat Saunders in May, when do you think, or when would you like to start your camp?
I mean, I'm already, you know, doing some things now. And, you know, usually a world championship training camp is 8 weeks out. You know, I do pre-camp before that. And then even the months before that, you know, I'm in the gym working. People know, I'm a disciplined fighter. I treat this craft with respect. And, you know that I'm on a year round. So
I said this was the last question, but I got to ask this because it just came in mind and I do want to know this. So this will be the last question I have for you. Going into a camp for a Canelo, how do you feel that's going to make you better? Like, what do you think it's going to bring out of you? Like, how are you going to improve tenfold from the Caleb Plant of last year, from the Caleb Plant in the Caleb Truax fight?
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you step up in competition, you know, it can bring the best out of fighters. And, there also be crowd there and fans. And, I think that makes a big difference, at least for some fighters. Not all fighters are the same, but you see somebody like, Josh Warrington, he seems like somebody who feeds off the crowd and feeds off the energy, whether he's being booed or being cheered on. And, just having that pressure on a fighter, some people step up to the occasion and it brings the best out of them. And then some people are gym fighters, they do the best when no one's really watching, no one's really there. And some fighters don't do the best in that situation. I feel like I've always been the fighter who steps up and the best is brought out of them when all the pressure's on. And, the way of the world is on them. And this is a fight where that's definitely going to be the case, whether it's the fans, whether it's the media, whether it's just the atmosphere in general. And I've always been that guy who steps up at that moment. And so I feel like that's going to bring the best out of me. You see the best Caleb Plant you've seen yet.
Caleb, man, thanks for the chat. Thanks for the update. Thank you so much. This man right here looking to be undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, hoping the world is hoping. All boxing fans are hoping.
I'm not looking to be, and I'm not hoping to be. I will be. So,
man, with conviction right there. Hopefully in September, though, we get the fight. We get the fight that we all want to see. Caleb, thank you so much, man. Good chatting with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Hub TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Hub TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.